Hello, and welcome to Euphoria and Three-City Revamp, a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition actual play. My name is Markus. Pronouns are he, him. I'm a pale male with a dark beard, dark hair, black-rimmed glasses, and today in a red sweater. Red certainly is a color befitting this game. And let's see how much red will also be the theme of this session. But before we get into that, let's give everyone a chance of this fantastic coterie to reintroduce themselves. Going around the table, let's start with Krifu. Hello.
Hello, I'm back, and I'm Krufu, pronouns he, him. I am a pale Caucasian male with dark hair and goatee, wearing a pink denim jacket with my purple gummy bear necklace. And I'm playing Petakun, who is. I think he's confused. Honestly, I don't know. We'll see what happens tonight, but I plan on making bold decisions with whatever comes our way.
Curious about those bold decisions. Next up, Jen.
Appreciate everyone doing jazz fingers to bold decisions also. Hello, my name is Jen Vaughn. My pronouns are she, they. I am a light-skinned woman with dark, long hair, wearing a black sweater as well. I've got a red lipstick on to fit the rest of the group. We're all wearing the same color scheme. Good on us. And I will be playing Josette Pointu. Her pronouns are also she, they. And she is so full of yummy blood after last time, and excited to wrap this whole ding-dang thing up and get these thrones semi-warm again.
How does she feel at this point about the existence of ghosts?
Oh, no, she's very upset about that, actually. And yes, we'll have to talk to Chong again, obviously, very soon.
Talking about Chang, hello, Toto.
Hallo allerseits. Hi everyone. I am Toto. My pronouns are she, they. I am playing Chang today, who is very excited about the existence of ghosts. And Chang's pronouns are she, her. Today, me, Toto. I am wearing a black sweater. I'm a Southeast Asian femme-presenting person. And I have red lipstick on to fit the theme of the night. And I'm looking forward to getting into more trouble with this coterie.
Can't make any promises, but chances are high we're getting that. And last but not least, the troublemaker herself, Aida. Hello.
It absolutely me. Hi, my name is Aida. My pronouns are she and her. I'm a Latina woman of color. I have tan skin, dark eyes, dark hair. I am wearing a sheer red turtleneck with a black blazer on top of it. I am playing Grietje de Graaf, whose pronouns are she and her. And she is trouble. She is absolute trouble. Oh my, I might be surprised if she survives at the very end. My request, just make sure she goes out beautifully.
Let's see how that will play out. I'm looking forward to this session, but before we dive in to our penultimate episode, just a few words of warning to those tuning in. Three-City Revamp, and specifically Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition, is a game with adult themes. And as such, we are going to be portraying people who are anything but good. These vampires, these characters we portray, make terrible choices and do terrible things. This story and this game also include content such as violence, strong language, blood, psychological horror, body horror, manipulation, and ghosts. If you're watching this and at any point you feel uncomfortable by anything we share here, please take a step back, remove yourself from the scene, and go do something else. Whenever you're comfortable to come back, we will still be here, and you can continue the rest of the story with us. With that being said, let's continue with our Three-City Revamp. Last time, on Three-City Revamp, our coterie dealt with quite the complex situation at the haven of Prince Caspar Hoyers, Prince of Maastricht. The police had shown up at the same time as Grietje had once again compelled the gangrel Hannes to do something against his will, which was jumping from a balcony and landing right next to said police. The situation got messy, but through a combination of quick acting, vampiric disciplines, and Hannes feeling a little bit violent, it got quickly resolved. But who knows what the consequences of all of this will be. Grietje, however, also got a confession out of Lena, one of Caspar's childer, that she was actually planning to usurp her sire's throne. With the party all back in tow here, Prince Caspar passed judgment upon his child, which was destruction. Regarding the next steps, the coterie's Tremere Chang had come up with an idea. She had put together what she had learned at Yassira's place, what she had, the dots she had connected through and through, and believes that there might be a connection between the churches in the area and whatever strange ritual or magic Yassira has been trying to manipulate according to Lena, information she shared before she was destroyed. Most of the coterie headed over to Yassira's, but Josette took the chance to try and remove the corpse that Grietje's toetje, her snack, had left behind. Arriving at the museum, Josette, however, only found an empty refrigerator and a ghost reaching out to her. The rest of the coterie at Yassira's did not find the Tremere alone. The wards at her house had been meddled with, no more bigger on the inside scenario going on here, and Yassira was accompanied by Hannes himself, still with blood on his lips. Situation got tense. However, Grietje resorted to her vampiric powers and powered through Hannes' will to use the leg of a wooden stool and stake himself. Yassira, in response, tried to do something magical, something occult, but Grietje resisted, and as Yassira tried to flee, Peter and Chang restrained her. And we ended last time on this shot of Hannes putting that improvised stake through his own chest, his body falling to the floor, and we start this episode with a little replay of that moment as we see his staked body completely stiff and without motion, falling to the ground, and everything fading to black, to just show a few words on screen. Yesterday. We are not in Maastricht anymore. We're back in a little village. And we see Vera Lennartz standing in her red coat in an almost empty basement. The only company for her is a dirty mattress, 2 chairs with a corpse on each, and the sharp scent of cleaning chemicals. She's done taking notes, the reports of eyewitnesses stored in her files, but she is not done pondering recent events. Her source, the one that had delivered vital information for the accidental fire in Aachen, and who had put her fellow operatives on the trail of Mr. Lilieu, was reliable and valuable so far, but it seemed some miscalculation on their part had complicated matters. Vera is no stranger to these mistakes. Unexpected factors and variables unaccounted for are the bread and butter of her job. Blank bodies are notorious for surprises. In this situation, however, the miscalculation was painful. Vera had made the mistake to get ahead of herself, to consider a battle won before she had planted her flag. Amsterdam and Paris had already heard of 2 pieces being removed from the board, 2 central points of blank body society gone. Paris had even offered her a job in Nice to reinforce a team investigating possible blank body activity along the Côte d'Azur. If the word got out that 1 piece had returned to the board, a piece she had not even taken off the board herself, things could get ugly. She takes a few final pictures of the basement, the mattress and the corpses. There would be more of those, unless she and her team got back to work. We return to the current night, and we return to Josette, who has probably at this point left the museum.
Mm-hmm.
What's she up to currently?
Josette is walking, trying to find the nearest librairie, the bookstore, or a bookstore, a library, and to see if she can get something from a new book, a direction for her to find the body, because she's struck out at the scene of the crime. She's pretty sure it's at the police station, but doesn't want to waste time. There's very little left.
It's already a bit late for most of the stores to be open, but you're not far away from a department of the university library, which has longer opening hours for all of these students who like to get their work done in the evening. And you can get in there and move your way to one of the many shelves of books. There's not many other people here. You see there's a group of students seated around a table in one corner, but you're already looking at these shelves filled with books, looking for some form of clue, of direction from them.
She probably pulls out one of the apocryphal volumes of the Bible, since she's recently met a ghost face to face and is feeling herself turning end over end in her mind.
What beautiful happenstance that she does indeed find herself into the religious section to indeed pull out a addendum to the Bible, flipping through the pages and looking for any clues. But at first there's nothing coming there. There's no signs. The words are just that, words. But you try to pull in your bibliomancy, and as you do, could you give me that resolve plus aspects as you're trying to get some information in?
Absolutely.
What did you get? Those are
2 successes and
2 successes, exactly 2 successes, and no terrible consequences in here. You flip through a few more of these pages in the Apocrypha that you've pulled out, and you come upon one page that, in between some translation of an old letter of one of the evangelists talking about how you will know the signs of the end times coming, you just see this little paragraph in there that tells you, follow the red code.
Le rouge manteau, the red coat. Okay. She looks around, sliding the book back into its spot. Does she see one in the room?
You look around, there's some of the students, they have these already in the October weather, these thick winter coats with the fake fur and everything on, but no red coats here. But you then hear that there is a conversation at the front desk of the library. And you hear someone speaking in Dutch with a very French accent in it.
Josette heightens her senses so that she can hear exactly what is being said at the front desk. She creeps closer.
Senses grow sharper, and you hear this French accented Dutch saying, "Nou, u weet zeker dat u niets gezien heeft? You know for sure you have not seen anything?" And the man on the other side of the desk responds, "All I've heard was a lot of police activity here. We're not that far away from that museum, but haven't seen anything suspicious. I mean, if you get all of these students in here every day, you see some weird behavior, but nothing that I would link to to whatever happened there at the museum." The voice responds, "I understand. Dank u wel. Thank you." And you hear the sound of heels walking away.
Josette starts to follow the sound because this person seems like they know what's happening.
You get out of your section of the library towards the front desk, and you get there as you see the person with the heels and wearing a red coat walking out of the library. And towards, just parked on the outside, a Dutch police car.
Josette just sort of like looks up at the sky, sort of like shaking her head, like, why me?
You have your heightened senses on, correct?
Yes.
As you move towards that direction, you see this woman on her heels in her red coat walking out. The moment the sliding doors of the library opened, your ears pick up this high-pitched sound that's coming from somewhere. And it seems to be coming from the direction of the police officers outside.
Is it possible for Josette to sort of end her heightened senses and try something else as well?
You can keep your heightened senses going.
Okay.
It's just you can do something else while the heightened senses are still active.
I would like to use her mask of 1,000 faces while she's interacting with the police.
And what kind of appearance does she don?
Yeah. So for her, when she does this, she sort of digs her long nails into the palm of her left hand to draw just the tiniest bit of blood, and takes it and pulls it down her face. And the blood, as it seeps in, changes her appearance. So she is now has a blonde bob, short hair, blue eyes, and is wearing a sweatshirt of the local university, and has like a little backpack on one shoulder and a very perky attitude. She walks up to the cops to see what's going on.
As you walk up, can you give me a rouse check for this? It does
Yes.
cost you a rouse check.
Of course it is. Thank you.
That's a success. And with your perky attitude and a success on your rouse check, you walk up to the police officers which are now accompanied by the red-coated woman you see. A tall, slender build. She has a phone in one hand, apparently taking notes on the app on her phone, and a cup of coffee in the other. And as you approach the cops, you see two of the cops are looking at, both of these cops are looking at you, and they go, "Just usual police business in the evening, nothing that would interest a madam like you. Can we help you with anything?"
I've been looking for someone from my he was supposed to be in my study group, and he's been missing, and I didn't know if you would be the right people to ask. His name is Renee. Do you have any information? Renee, no last name.
The woman looks at you. You say a Renee in your study group?
Mm-hmm.
Have you had any previous contact with this Renee?
I mean, in the study group, yeah.
She looks at the cops, then back at you. Would you consider answering a few questions?
No problem. Whatever you need, I'm here to help you.
She smiles, hands her cup of coffee over to one of the officers, and then seems to open up her notes on her phone. The name is Vera Leenaerts, by the way. I investigate a current case that brings me from Liège over here. And you do notice she does speak, there is indeed a French accent to her speaking voice. And she continues, this René, what kind of interactions did you have with him so far?
Oh, just like silently yearning at his good hairline, talking about art history, just that basic stuff.
Did he mention visiting a recent exposition at the Bonnefanten Museum to you at any point?
No. I think he thought that art there was just too, what was his words? Well, I don't know how we would say highfalutin.
Highfalutin.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I have one more question then for you, Miss. What was the name again?
Tilly Waldenhouse.
Well, I'm assuming American exchange student.
Got it in one.
Well, they sure have a certain attitude. And she scrolls through her phone, and then, have you ever seen Renee with this woman? And she shows you a picture of Grietje sitting on the chair outside of her house, doing her entire sobbing, sad routine.
No, never seen this person before.
Josette, can you give me a manipulation plus subterfuge roll? And since you're also obfuscated with a completely different appearance, I'm going to give you an additional die to that roll.
Difficulty 2? Doesn't matter.
Make it a 3 at this point. Actually, make it a 4 at this point.
Episode 5.
You have 2 successes. You could spend willpower
I will
to re-roll all the 3 dice that you can re-roll.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You see this woman, this Vera Lennartz, look at you as you say that. And she still had the phone held up to you to show the picture of Grietje. She turns it around back to her, swipes the picture away. Is there any address I could note for you, Miss Waldenbaum?
Wallenhouse, thank you.
Wallenhouse.
The Wallenpounds are cousins, though. I live over there, and she points at a house, like above a flower shop, or a building that is retail on the bottom, apartments on top. But I can just come down to the police station now if you have more questions you want me to ask you.
I do actually have a few more questions, but
okay.
I am not heading over to the police station right now. But if you are available, you could join me and my colleagues, and she gestures at the police officers. We are on our way to a different site, and you could answer a few questions while riding along.
Sounds great. I'll be the safest person in all of Maastricht.
I sure hope so. These gentlemen are fine officers. They're doing an excellent job. And she wanders over to the car, opens one of the back doors to also help you in if you are so inclined to join for this ride.
Josette is sort of cringing at herself on the inside, like, was this the best plan? Just going balls to the wall, China to the liner. But she gets in anyway and plasters that smile back on.
You get into the car. We hear the sound of the doors closing, the engine starting, and this Dutch police car pulls away from this part of the university library. And as you look out the windows, you see that it does move in the direction of where Yassira lives. Talking about Yassiras, we have a situation there. We have Peter and Chang, who are currently holding back Yassira, who was trying to run away after whatever she tried on Grietje. And now lying on the floor is a completely stiff and unmoving Hannes with an improvised stake through his heart. What is it that you do?
Oh, I should have asked that he barked first or something. Now, we don't have all night, and Chang, I know you are very curious, but let us focus on information that is actionable. 2 direct questions. Otherwise, we'll be here all night. And I've been excited. I don't think that's very interesting. Okay?
That's fair. All right. We need to know what exactly the ritual does. And we need to know where to go.
Now, if you could, both of you could tilt her face over here, please.
No need to, Yasura says.
Mm.
Just let me go. I'm just gonna sit down. Only thing I'm asking, could you at least be so decent to, and she gestures at Hannes, to like move him out of the room?
Machine? Maybe.
Like, how do you even, and she looks at Grietje, you know what you did to him? This is like a really dire move among Kindred, what you just did.
So is trying to usurp the prince of, and I am in the prince's court.
It's a dire situation all over the place, I guess.
Did Lena squeal? Did she talk?
Now, we're the ones asking the questions, Yasira.
I think this is
And-
kind of a back and forth that we're doing here.
No, I don't think so, unless you decide to be difficult. Are you going to be difficult, Yasira? And I'll have my eyes just briefly glow before I actually do anything about it.
Is that how you do everything? Just force your way through it? She crosses her arms and just glares at you, apparently not impressed by your threat.
Zal ik dat doen dan?
We could be playing this games all night. Just move him into the hallway, please.
It's fine. Can we just move him? I don't want to look at him anyway.
Creature looks at Peter because both Peter and Chang are holding Yasira in place.
Right.
I think Jasira went back to a chair to sit down. Like we were blocking her way to the door.
Then Peeta's going to quickly move behind her,
Mm-hmm.
Yasira, after after catching Klitsch's eyes, he quickly moves behind Yasira and literally grabs her head and forces it in the direction of Klitsch's eyes and says, "We don't have time for your pedantics."
Mesmerize.
Yasira is like already throwing her hands up. There's gonna be no need for that, all right? I'm gonna promise I'm gonna be honest.
Promises.
I'm looking at
I've had one clan member too much do this shit to me to have it done again.
Answer the questions.
I'm gonna answer the question if you let me talk. You really like the sound of your own voice, don't you, Grietje?
Well, mooi. It's quite lovely. Speak.
Mr. Kuhn, would you be so kind to take your hands off my head?
I don't think you are in a position to be requesting things from us.
Let her talk, we'll know if she lies, and then we can still mesmerize her. Just keep standing behind her, just in case.
She rolls her eyes, but decides to speak. I don't know what you've heard so far already, but I have been studying certain old magic that has been part of this region for a very long time. There is something that I do not yet completely understand. Something old that lingers and rests in the very earth beneath us. And I know this sounds vague, and it is vague, but there's a reason that many a kindred before us, long before we had concepts of domains and traditions and the Masquerade, have put in a great effort to keep that magic working. And part of it has actually been, this is the most most impressive bit of thaumaturgy that was worked here, part of it is that these 3 domains, Aachen, Maastricht, Liège, they always need to have a prince. There needs to be a prince.
Why?
It's it's a component to this old magic. It's part of the fabric that these old kindred have created. You know how this ancient magic sometimes worked, Chang? There are these very obscure elements to it. But if you start fiddling with them, things come apart. And our princes have always known about this, and they have used it perhaps as a reason to stay in power. But then Isadora got killed, and things started falling apart. There's been more sightings of ghosts and other undead here in the entire region. Something is coming upward. Something is bubbling down there.
So you
And I've
say you weren't responsible for the Isadora stuff?
I really, really thought she could be very arrogant and annoying, but that's my opinion on most of the kindred I deal with. I had no hand in that.
You know if he did? And I point over to Hannes.
I think he and Holger might be in cahoots about that, yeah.
Yeah.
So Isadora dies, and I noticed that indeed this old magic is coming apart. So we need to start fixing it. We need to work towards a solution. But I'm not going to make it work like it always did. I'm not going to put that magic in the hands of just the ones at the top of the hierarchy. I'm not going to put it on the thrones. I'm going to give that magic to all of us. I'm going to rewrite this spell. And that requires some ingredients. Requires someone who is on a throne. Enter Cusper, who was about to run away from what was happening here. Well, Lena was so kind to help me intercept him. And from what I can tell, we actually did him a bit of a favor there, because apparently these human hunters were also on his ass. So we get his body, we move it to one of his backup havens that Lena had access to, and I keep him there. I try to figure out the spell. I try to use his blood, his vitae, to see how this thaumaturgy works. And I'm close. I am this close to really understand it.
Chang, your other question. And keep it short.
This is a lot of information, and you're making me ask one single question.
We do not have all night.
I'm aware. Where were you going next?
She looks over at the direction, she looks over at Hannes. Hannes knows where David Lilieux is. He's been moved. Someone moved him to a safe place, and Hannes knows where he is. With all of you getting Cusper out of his torpor and back into place, I need another person that's on the throne. I need someone to further find out how this formula works. Technically, David is still on his throne.
You think yourself so ehrgeizig, ambitious, that you would seek to change what our forebears had placed. The formula is already written. The thrones must be seated.
I was brought into a clan built like a pyramid, and I was the lowest brick on it. When that pyramid shattered, I made my way out of those ruins of it. Do you think I'm going to just allow to have some other remnant of it, even the barest echo of it?
Are we ready? Grietje asks Peter and Chang.
We know what we need. Princes, or just one more, apparently. Aachen must have a prince.
No.
What? Wait, hang
on.
on.
The question is therefore, what to do with this one? Pointing at Yasira.
She looks with wide eyes
If
at
Cas-
Hitya and then over at Chang.
if Caspar knew what she had just said to us, I feel his judgment would be the same as what we saw earlier this evening. Final death.
Seems almost too easy. No.
Well, he's not here to judge, is he?
Marchang, she did the favor of packing all the books. You can reverse engineer it as Creature looks around, see if there's anything else.
I want to have
There's 2 other pouches. There's some other legs on that stool, isn't there?
Kritya, I want... I am asking for something.
Hmm?
I want Yasira to leave her books behind. We keep them, look through whatever we need. Well, preferably, you point us to what we need, Yasira. And you get the fuck out of here. Out of... Not just out of Masquerade. All of this place.
That is what Kvarlik, Chang. That's rather dangerous. And you are one who likes knowing and controlling. This puts you out of knowing and thus out of control.
Well, yeah. But what I also like even less is destroying someone with such a vast knowledge. This is me asking you.
Yasira, my Lieve coterie member has asked me something very kindly. That you slink away, never to set foot in Germany, in Belgium, or in Nederland, or associate with kindred related to those regions. You can do this at your will, or you do this anyway, but I command you to look at sunrise as you do it. Gismar, pick.
Yasira is fully tensed up now. Every muscle in her undead body at full tension. Her eyes are wide, and if she had the capability to, she would sweat at this point.
I give Yasira the look like this is the best I can do for you here. And add to it, just again, we already saw a final death tonight. And you know what will happen to you if you stay.
Lapland is well mooi. It's nice in the Nordic countries.
She, unable to really turn her head with Peter still holding it, her eyes just go to a little side table she has, and there's an envelope on there. And she says, "That's a location Hannes brought. The location where David could be."
Nou goed dan.
I slowly remove my hand from her head.
You are going to go zo meteen. You're not going to talk to another person, alive or undead otherwise. Duidelijk?
She frowns at you. There's a scowl coming from her face, but she nods.
And normally I'd just go off and take care of you anyway, but Chang is my friend. Chang has asked Leaf very kindly. I do respect Chang. You owe Chang quite a lot. It's a shame you won't be able to talk to Chang anymore, though. Thus, do we?
She, once the grip from Peter is released, she steps forward. She grabs a bag, like a satchel, puts it over one shoulder, looks around the room, once more at Peter, once more at Grietje. And on her way out, she looks at Chang, and she just very quietly says, "Thank you."
I nod to her and look her in the eyes as she leaves to the door. Like just a second longer than needed, and then turn back to my coterie.
And it's at that moment, as you turn back, that Peter, your phone vibrates.
He pulls it out, looks at it.
It's a text from Gisette.
Oh, scheiße. The police are on their way.
Okay.
Hannes Mutmei has to come with us. Take what you can carry and let's get the fuck out of here. And Hichi will grab the envelope that Yasira mentioned.
I want to look around if I can quickly scan the room to see if there's like a specific place or specific bundle of research in that regard that I could grab.
Since this is also under pressure, as you're trying to really quickly gather this information, can you give me, and it's specifically since you're looking for books and knowledge here, can you give me an intelligence plus occult here to see how quickly you can ascertain the most important books here?
I also have speciality and
Yeah,
in occult specific to theology.
that definitely applies here. You get the extra die for that. There we go. 4 successes. You quickly scan the room, and there's like 4 different books that stand out to you. There's just like looking at the covers, quickly flipping through them. Those seem to be like very important ones that you want to make sure that these are taken with you. So you can pocket those as quickly as the rest of the coterie is apparently, I assume, is getting a little bit anxious with the news of the cops coming.
Why is Josette bringing the cops here?
Weet ik helemaal niet. Well, Josette is crafty. There is a method to her ways. No.
Either way, good that we know, and we gotta get out of here. And just see me grab the most important books.
I start dragging Hannes's body to wherever we need to. What car are we in? I don't.
There
can we
was a
fit?
car swap, I believe.
It was a car swap.
Would we have had the Kango?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that we all
Kango.
fit.
Good.
Peter,
Otherwise, we would have fit.
Peter, dragging that weight is already hard enough, but dragging that weight that is also as stiff as a board as a torpored, staked vampire, that's quite a challenge as you try to move the body closer towards the door.
Okay.
Just to see how well that goes, could you give me a strength plus athletics check?
But if I'm done with the books, because or like Kicho, I could help.
I'd say that the books thing takes place parallel to
Okay, yeah.
what Peter is doing here.
Mutik, helper. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Ik.
Peter
Hannes,
will
Good
will-
wife.
as he like ignores her
She
grumbling.
helps. She looks
uh,
disgusted.
He will. I'm gonna blood search this because
Okay,
I haven't gained any hunger this chronicle,
Stop
That's true.
Creepo.
and it's time.
make that rouse check before
Start with the
you.
rouse check.
What feast?
Failure. All right.
You go up.
So I've got but I'm gonna get an extra die on this athletics and strength check.
Exactly.
He's
you
just
become more
complaining the whole
powerful.
time. Ugh, feast, dirty. Oof.
How many? What's the difficulty?
This book.
Difficulty would be 3 here.
Okay.
Moot,
Oh.
the switch roll. She is complaining, but she's willing to do
As
it.
yours, can you give me a Kritje, can you
That
before we
was-
see what happens here, Kritje, can you also give me a strength plus athletics?
Yeah, I only had 2 successes, and both of them were on hunger dice.
Ooh, dangerous.
It is.
I mean, you have an option if you wanted to re-roll it. Do you just have 1 die for strength and athletics? Yeah, well, okay.
are
no,
we
it's-
surprised?
Yeah, no.
He's
Um,
beautiful, not
I'll use the
strong.
willpower.
huh?
He goes to the gym.
I go to the gym. I'm not bulking. But I
These
will
are
use
show
willpower,
muscles, okay?
Mostly.
The muscles are in the core.
Yeah, they're only. I haven't used none of my willpower then, so I'm happy to use the willpower roll. for 2 of this dice. No messy crit. No messy crit.
A messy crit is like what? Him being yeeted?
Okay, so I've got a 3. Oh, I was a 9. That was almost a messy crit. So I have
Yeah.
3 successes plus Creature's 4th.
Exactly. With your combined willpower, with your, well, muscle power, but also a bit of willpower, and while also pumping yourself up through the powers of your Vitae, the 2 of you can get the body slowly out of the door. And I just want to paint you the scene right here, because you're moving out into basically, you are pretty much in the center of the city. You are in a side alley. The only neighbors are a few other apartments, and just a little bit diagonally across the street, there's an Irish pub here. And the 3 of you, for bystanders, it looks like you are dragging out someone who's unconscious. And you get out into the street. And I want to leave it at this scene for a moment as we switch over back to Josette, or should I say Tilly, who is in the car with, sitting in the front are the 2 police officers, and you sit in the back with this Vera Lennartz. The car has slowly driven through some of the narrow streets in Maastricht, and you have just quickly texted this message towards your companions as you notice that the car is driving over one of the bridges over the River Maas in the city. And Lena turns to you and says, "From the States, you said you were, right?"
Yes.
Where exactly in the States?
Oh, Lebanon, New Hampshire.
New Hampshire?
It's on the East Coast.
That sounds very beautiful. While she says that, she reaches into her,
in the fall.
she reaches into her coat and she pulls out this very, very fancy looking lighter, like this Zippo lighter, and she just flicks the top open and the flame ignites. And Josette, for you as a vampire, fire is immediate danger, and you sense like everything tensing up about you as she just casually has this flame out for apparently no reason.
Oh, are you do you need a smoke?
I stopped a few years ago. It's a bad habit. Smoke and fire can kill. And she closes the lighter again with a click.
Yes, they can.
Pockets it. You mentioned, I showed you a picture a little bit earlier, and she shows you again the photo of Grietje. Is it really not ringing any bells?
It's not. I mean, this doesn't look like a great photo. She's kind of crying and holding up a hand, so I don't, if I see a woman in distress like that, I don't normally take a photo of her. I help her, so.
I will be blunt. The officers who took this picture, they were trying to help her. Well, they'd also had some bad news for her. Seemed to have been some terrible things happening at her workplace.
Oh, okay.
Do you perhaps recognize her a little bit more in this way? And she taps the picture, and you see it's basically the exact same picture, but it looks like it's through some kind of filter. And it reminds you of like these kind of infrared heat vision cameras. And the entire body of Grietje is just completely gray, devoid of color. And as she taps over to that image, she goes, "Any more familiar in this way?"
Now, would Josette recognize this?
You would understand that there's some kind of heat
Like,
vision camera.
Okay. So that's what's happening, yeah. Okay. Obviously, she recognizes Grietje. Okay. Huh. Interesting. Is that one of those new filters on TikTok or IG?
Lena
It looks
smirks.
kind of creepy. I mean,
Oh, yes, it is very creepy. But There's more.
Was Renee a pervert? Has Renee been harassing this woman?
I don't know.
I mean, how did you get this photo then?
Well, that is a good question. And you might have another question in a moment. And she like swipes over the screen, slides as she's swiping to the next picture. And you see a picture from kind of like chest angle looking upwards at you, Josette, as you approach the police officers just a little bit ago. And the picture does not show your mask of many faces. It just shows you. And then Lena or Vera swipes once again. And it's another of these heat vision pictures. Another one of these showing that you are also completely cold.
Sorry, I was like, technology can pierce through a mask of 1,000 faces, not just sense the unseen? Okay. Great. What assholes. All right. Where are they? Are they still crossing the bridge, or?
You're like at the other side of the bridge now. Going by your estimates, by car, it's like just maybe 2 more minutes before you're at where they're going.
Yeah. Josette will go, oh. I mean, she like leans in. She's like, it does look a little. And then she just takes a hand and claws at her throat while kicking out the window on the other side.
Oh, wow. Okay. Josette, can you give me for that? Can you give me a strength plus brawl for this?
I can. It's.
And you can also, similar to what Peter did in the other scene, if you want to, you can do what's called a blood search, which means that you make a rouse check, and no matter the result, you improve your strength by 1 point, would bring it up to 4 instead.
I'm fucked. Okay.
That hunger goes up by 1, but now you can make your strength plus brawl with an additional die.
Oh, good that you ate earlier.
That's right. Strength plus brawl.
Maybe she'll eat again. Well, unless it's a to-go, I think.
Potager. Difficulty 3? 5?
Difficulty is not relevant for now because I'm going to contest this with a roll from Vera.
Okay. Oh!
Willpower,
You can spend willpower.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Spend everything you have.
I'm spending it
Sorry,
all.
I'm freaking out. I'm over here like, blood search, willpower. Do it.
Whatever you have to.
I would appreciate it because I'm just like, what do I do?
There we are.
One more. Okay.
One more success. All right, you got a total of 2 successes. Let's see how Vera does, being fully taken aback by this. That is 1 success on her end. The total surprise of what you're doing, clawing at her face, just pushes her to the side, and you start shoving against the door, like kicking against the car door, against the window to try and push it out. And you get a good kick in there, and the door moves a little, but it's still in there. You notice that the car pulls a little bit to the side. Now, one of the policemen in the front seats, noticing what's going on, is just like looking over his shoulder, and it just like, hey, what is er nu aan de hand? What's happening here?
She's having an epileptic fit, and then she elbows him in the head.
Give me another strength plus brawl. You still have your improved strength from the blood surge, so.
It's a single roll of the dice.
It's a single roll.
It's not like in previous editions where the blood search lasts
don't have the blood surge anymore.
Ooh.
Couldn't keep your mouth shut for this one, huh? Okay.
But you have
No.
willpower after.
You can always blood surge again.
It's one success.
I mean, at this
Mhm.
point, you just have them right there. They might just almost die, and then you have a snack. If you crash into something.
Mm-hmm. It's a takeout. It's a takeout car. Okay.
That's 2 successes. And also taken aback by your surprise elbow, it lands in the face of the police officer. Like you hear the bone of the nose snap. And he's crying like, ah, what for? And then the other officer is just swirling around. But Vera is also like slowly recovering. And she's going in for a swing against you, Josette. She is... Oh, she got 3 successes there on the swing, but you can roll your own strength versus strength and brawl to see how much of that actually impacts you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's fine. I can take some.
You literally can, because as far as you can tell, it's just her fists that coming for you. And vampires are made of sturdy stuff.
Yeah.
It's 1 success. So
One
you...
success.
The fists, they come through, and you feel one of them going to your cheek, and you take 2 superficial damage from this. So on
Mhm.
your health, you can like tick 2 of those boxes so that there's like a diagonal line through them.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
to illustrate, superficial damage to a vampire is nothing to worry too much about. You can recover quickly from it, but it still hurts a bit that you got that fist to your face, and you're still now stuck in a car
Mhm.
with this woman with a lighter who knows what's up and 2 other police officers. Josette, what is it you're doing at this point?
Would she have clocked if they had a gun? If Vera had a gun on them earlier?
The cops at least have something. They would have like batons or any kinds of like similar to like pepper spray or something on them. So there would be something that you could try to take from them. But they're also in the front seat, and you're in this narrow car here that is on a standstill right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She is going to. She's going to try to take the. Yeah. She reaches. She undoes the seatbelt around Vera, and then wraps it around her neck, and then pulls really hard, pulls all of her weight against it, pushing her feet up against the window opposite her to try to have Vera see the sunset.
Whoa. Oh, this is a good one. Can you give me once again a strength plus brawl for this? This is going to be against the difficulty, since you're trying to really like wrap her up in her own seatbelt. This is going to be against difficulty 4 to pull this off against her.
She's used to being improvised situations, but not usually with 2 cops.
That is 1 success. We're looking at difficulty 4. We got 3 successes out of it. And you cannot use willpower on this one because the 1 die that you didn't get a success on is a hunger die.
Mhm.
But you could still try to re-roll the existing successes into higher successes. That is very risky.
You would need 110. That's
Yeah. And then it would become a messy critical.
I'll keep it as is.
You take the seatbelt, you start wrapping it up, but Vera, of course, is trying to push against that, trying to get out of there. One of the officers has already got out of the front seat and is now opened one of the back doors and
Mistake.
and is like already had pulled out his baton, and he's going like he's doing the whole spiel of like informing you that you should stop or he's going to apply force. But the door is open.
Oh, well, yeah. As soon as he opens that door, she dives out of it and is running into an alleyway wherever she can, assuming like zigzagging, obviously.
Yeah, you have enough experience in this. You dive by him. He did not expect how quickly you could come from that position into a position that allows you to run by him. He's like completely taken aback as you run, and you hear behind you in shouting in Dutch. You hear the police officer like, "Snel, snel, achteraan, chase, come on!" And you hear doors closing, but you're running, getting into the alleys, and you realize that you are really not far away from where Yasiras is. And this is where the two scenes converge, where we have Peter and Grietje are busy dragging out the staked body of Hannes. Chang is just also slowly moving out of this house, and then coming around the corner, you three see Josette. Like, there's a clear impact, like a bruise on her cheek as she's just running into the alley.
Yeah, her mask, she melted her mask off when she took off out of the car because it was like, don't worry about it. Like, they know what I look like. She's like, nailed! They're right behind me!
Okay.
I open the car door as the other two are holding Hannes, so like kind of assisting them as like in the back. And as they hear them in there, I also crawl in the back, kind of just like I imagine him just face down on the seats, and I'm just like I'm just sitting on top of his shoulders, like on the back, because like there's nowhere else to sit.
And you all there get into the Kangoo. Hannes in one way or another in there. The three of you also. We hear the sounds of the car doors closing as in the distance there's sirens approaching. You make your escape. And that's where we are going to take our break for now. To catch a bit of a breath, stretch your legs, take a drink, and we'll continue this in a little bit here on Euphoria. See you in a little.
Help! Oh my god.
Welcome back to the second half of today's episode of Three-City Revamp. In our first half, we had Josette getting a little bit close to apparently someone who knows a bit more about vampires than we would have expected. And the rest of the coterie dragged a staked Hannes out of Yasira's former haven, should I say, as she was so gently told to leave and not return. However, the situation is very hot right now, as Josette has run away from the police officers and this woman known as Vera Leonard, who knows a lot about your kind. The three of you, or the four of you, together with Hannes, made your way into your trusty Renault Kangoo, got everyone in there, got Peter behind the steering wheel, and you are making your way out of here. What does it look like as the entire coterie now and their staked companion is making their exit in the Kangoo?
Grietje is shotgun, and she would have opened the folder that Yasira said this might be where David is. If I open it up, does this take us to Liège?
It says there's just one piece of paper in the envelope, and it just says on it, Église Saint-Jacques, St. James Church. And that is a church in Liège, indeed.
I would probably know, seeing how I've been researching the theologies and churches in the area, and especially after hearing about this, I've been like pinpointing in my head, okay, which ones are there, which ones are the bigger ones which ones are the oldest ones. And I would immediately, like, if Grietje says this out loud, I would like be like, okay, this is in Liège, and like kind of the estimated direction we have to go to, like
Yeah.
where in Liège.
Naar Luik. We still have to go to Luik, to Liège. Good.
Hey, Gretchen, what the fuck? Who is Vera Leartz?
V? Who?
Vera? Leonard?
Storyteller. Does this name ring a bell?
Okay, she starts describing this woman to Gretchen.
Sounds like a snack, maar ik ken haar niet. I don't know her.
C'est possible, it's possible, but I was talking to the police to try to find your dessert leavings, if you will, the body.
Pardon, zeg ik al. Yeah?
And she certainly had a lot of photos of you, including ones with night vision goggles.
Dat mag niet. You can't do that.
I mean, oh no, maybe it was a night vision heat seeking. The same. It's very similar though.
Dat mag ze hele.
Just to highlight this, the pictures were also specifically of Grietje sitting on this chair right in front of the door of her own house and looking very mournful, sobbing, overacting.
I think they were from the other day when today. It was today.
Earlier tonight.
Earlier tonight when you were talking to the cops as well. But they had some sort of filter technology that could.
Peter, didn't you say you heard something?
Is it normal for the cameras by police to have infravision?
Nee, helemaal niet. Fuck no. Oh,
yes. Is it...
Is this the contact Holger has? Did he snitch on us?
His contact seemed very, very violent.
I feel like we're like also like very close to like the ceiling of the car because like we're sitting on Hannes. It was like a little
there's room. We would have. I think there's 4 chairs in there now, so we would have just shoved him in the middle.
Oh. But like he's like a plank, you know. You can't just he can't sit upright.
Well, if we sit on him, I feel like we'll break him apart, wouldn't we?
No, he's sturdy.
Okay.
He's sturdy.
You'll just feel gross.
Because he can't sit up right.
Okay.
Because he's like
Maar, Hannes aside, so you're saying we have some. Then they're not polizzi. They are
some type of hunter.
Hunters. Okay, then hunter protocol. Swap out your SIM cards. Turn off your electronics. We've been through this.
Peter, you're driving, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going on your quickest way that you can to get out of the city, trying to get towards the highway, towards Liège. It's not a long ride once you're on the highway, but as you do, and you also take in what your coterie members are all saying, you glance into your rearview mirror, and you see a police car right behind you.
Verdammt. He will try to turn, speed up, maybe not super. Does it seem like they're actively tailing us? Did they recognize?
What
Definitely tailing you.
We don't break more than one law at a time, Peter.
There's no reason for them to stop you. The car is up to date. Maybe they ran my face, but I don't believe it's attached to this car. So
has that ever stopped police before?
No.
Did we see your mask while you were running towards us? Like
No.
what? Half
She pulled it off when as soon as she jumped out of the car.
So as soon as Peter can, he's going to. Are we on the autobahn yet?
You are at this point making your exit out of the city and are on the on-ramp to the highway.
Rustig aan, just drive. Gewoon, normally. she believed Peter.
They were able to see through my mask with this camera as well.
But do we have
I was a very
reason to
perky
believe?
American.
But do we have a reason to believe that it's only this Vera who knows, and the others are collateral? Maybe
If the police are using infravision in their cameras, they must have been tipped off for some reason or another.
Okay, well, if it's not Vera, I will do my best and make sure they don't bother us too much, but that is niet altijd zo makkelijk, or that is not always easy to do. Yes, I know I make it look very easy, maar momentje. Hichi is going to pull out from her bag her very nice wallet, go into those tiny pockets that who the heck knows what they're for? You can barely fit anything in them. But in the inside, I'd like to imagine she has like a spare SIM card. And this SIM card is exclusively one way to Prince. She would talk to the Prince on her normal number, but this one is only like shit's up.
Peter will reach into his pocket and hand his phone, maybe back to anyone, and say, just destroy it, I have another.
Take airplane mode, iedereen.
Gisette reaches into her glove compartment and pulls out another SIM card for herself. Click, click.
And
Easy.
Hichi will
check
start texting the Prince, and purely in Dutch, typing that Yasira is. We have released Yasira, maar ik vertrouw haar helemaal niet. Problem for another time. I give a very succinct, without detail, TLDR. But I don't explain all of what Yasira has blabbed, only that Yasira has been addressed but fled. Hunters probably on us. We are heading to the next place of import.
While all of you are doing that, you're following your own hunter emergency protocol, sweeping out SIM cards and the likes. Peter, you would be the first one to notice that police car that's been driving behind you is slowly like trying to match your speed right next to you on the highway.
Yeah, creature, stay down. Make sure Hannes is hidden and check his pockets too.
I'll look
And then-
through his pockets.
And then Peter will like turn on Blush of Life. Because if they're using infravision cameras, he wants to make sure there's heat in his body.
That costs you a rouse check, right?
It does.
Give me that rouse check. You go up to hunger 3.
Someone's hungry.
So as he literally like breathes in and breathes out, and you can see red like flush into his face, and then like inside there's this. It's not his stomach doesn't growl, but like there's this twisting inside.
The police car is now exactly next to you as you feel this fake warmth of life rushing through your body. You briefly glance to the side, trying to peer into the windows of the car next to you. You can't really see through it. Don't really know what's going on in there. You quickly glance to the rest of your companions, trying to lower their faces, hiding underneath jackets, keeping a literal low profile. And after a few tense moments that feel like minutes, the police car slows down, moving behind you, and eventually taking the next exit that you just drive by, further heading towards Liège.
Okay,
Vertrouw ik helemaal niet. I don't trust it at all.
alles gut.
No,
And he goes and turns the radio on.
Currently, as you no longer have the police after you and just the highway ahead of you, you would know that looking at the time in the dashboard, it is 11:30 at this point.
Oh,
And what
very
a
early.
night has it been so far. So much has happened since all of you have risen from your day sleep. And it doesn't look like the night is over yet. Are you heading straight to this Église Saint-Jacques, the St. James Church, in the most direct way possible, or is there any other business along the way?
Well, we know that Liège, that Leuk, is an anarch town, or is aiming to be. Josette, I know you don't necessarily camp too often in Liège, maar what is the situation there?
Well, there are some anarchs. There's not like a, I don't hang out with them. I have my own place where I sleep. It won't really fit all of us, but if we need some time, it's safe. Especially right now. If you want, we can reconvene. Well, we can. Don't want to leave Hannes there though. But if we want to do something with this, she's sort of pointing at him.
We can burn it somewhere later.
Okay.
Markus, what do we know about David and his court?
So David has always been mostly propped up in Liège by Isidora.
Yeah.
David was never a very strong ruler in Liège, thanks to an always very dominant anarch presence. And the only way that his power was enforced was through support of Isidora from Aachen, who had an interest in not having an anarch domain right on the doorstep of her own domain. David himself did, however, also, as far as all of you know, always considered himself a good ruler of a domain, very much the kind of guy who thinks that giving a good speech makes you a good ruler. And he does have a way with words, as many Bruja do have, as he is a Bruja. But nevertheless, especially once Isidora was burned in her haven, that's when also all of the support for David there fell. And from what you know, basically whatever was still his court has joined sides with the anarchs.
Toll.
With currently, from your last information you have, is that there is any kind of anarch movement is gathering around another Bruja who's called Bastian, who is trying to rally support here.
Is it perhaps possible that I know Bastian?
From certain past events?
Yeah, considering that the Anarchs of Liège shunned me thanks to me being a bad friend a couple decades ago.
I would very much think that of the anarchs in Liège, Bastian is perhaps the one that hates you most.
Great.
Banned from the group chat.
Super.
So does all the mice, the cockroaches feel invigorated to run around? David do nix. It does nothing. It's useless. Maybe it is time for someone very strong, swift, someone who takes initiative, someone who survives in the face of much danger too.
I'm
Step up,
right here, Kretcha.
and you accept. Long live the prince.
I could not tell if you were talking
worry
about
it's
yourself.
not as simple. I'm not sure it's as simple as saying, claiming praxis, and this is old magic. Perhaps they who sit on the throne needs to be accepted somehow.
We don't have time for this. Haven't he died for?
Yasira did say that David technically is still a throne sitter.
He is.
Throne sitter?
Maar Onze lieve Prince, our dear Prince Casper, likes Josette more or David more? Isidore is niet meer, so there's not much of her opinion here.
Well, she is still also technically on the throne. She is not gone.
Isidora's ashes might be on the throne, but that does not constitute her occupying it.
Yeah, Yasira did say it was Isidora's death that prompted this ghostly uprising. And she also mentioned other undead.
Le fantôme, the ghosts. Joe that
Yes,
turns
I've
to
told you
Tom.
about.
I've seen one. No, I saw another one. I saw the snack.
Oh, you saw.
Gletcha, he was
You
very
said you
handsome.
saw
I cannot
ghosts.
believe.
I mean, I wish I
did.
apologize
I did.
for not
I'm
having
sorry.
enough to save you a slocky, a sip.
So, but this has me thinking now about how dangerous, also what Pieter said too, how dangerous sitting on the throne could actually be. If we have the ghosts showing up, people are dying. If you sit on the throne, you could, I'm not saying you become a ghost, but you are then part of this ritual whether you want it or not.
Well, for now, they are showing up after only one throne being empty. What happens when another throne
We lose David,
is?
and they get
Because what is
stronger.
because what really gets dangerous is not the existence of ghosts themselves, them being here. What gets things complicated is when they enter our realm in a more permanent way, when they get the power to interfere. And Chang is saying this in a way that is like, oh, this is bad and that could happen, but at the same time she's super excited. Her face is like smiling as she says this.
Das? We moeten David vinden? We must find David. Is this our highest priority?
Highest priority is finding David, and if he is still alive, keep him that way. If you want another on the throne, we can figure that out later. But for now,
Maybe he can be convinced to slide off. Now, let's regroup. Perhaps you said it's your safe place, als het echt veilig is. I mean, really. And then see where we can fucking find this David. This church.
So you're heading over first to Josette's Haven in Liège as you're driving on the highway. The Belgian highways with their rougher texture than other neighboring highways. And eventually you do see the lights of Liège approaching. A city nestled in the valley between a few hills, rolling past, again, the Maas River, water connecting two of the three cities in this area. Here in the nightly lighting, it is a bit harder to see, but Liège is a city that is a combination of old stately history and old industrial history. Lots of old mining rigs and architecture blend in with older high-rises and buildings. And especially the further you get into the center of the city, the more you have this blend between industry and living spaces all around you. Streets get also a bit more narrow as you navigate your way towards Josette's Haven. And Josette, would you like to describe what the coterie sees as you pull up at your haven?
We are at the Librairie Pax, the Pax bookstore, and it's got some nice glass windows. It is currently closed with the metal curtain down, and so Josette pulls out some keys, and she actually goes the back door and takes them around the back to the alleyway, and then they go in that way. She's got an agreement with the owner, which she's describing. She's like, Odile has done some excellent things to this place. It's beautiful now. And I have my own little spot, and she's taking them to a section of new releases, and it's a a large wooden table with a bunch of books, and then she slides. She like kicks a little spot on the wood and slides off the top, and they can see like some small steps going down. And she's like, "It's a tight squeeze in this bunker, but I think we can do it."
Bunker?
Well, it's just kind of like a little hole in the ground that I sleep
Hole
in.
in the ground.
Okay, there's a cup, there's a bed, there's a little couch. I'm just saying it's a tight squeeze for 5.
Lekker.
For 4.
I slept worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just excuse me while I go. She like shimmies down. And then
While we're here, Chang is probably gonna consume her last, like the bag she took with her, the blood bag, because it's gonna run bad if I keep it any
Yeah.
longer anyway. So she's gonna drink that, and it's not very fresh or that great, but it does. You know, it's kind of like a ramen cup for vampires. Like, just heat it up with some hot water.
It surely is anything but fresh at this
Mm.
point, but it is your preferred way of drinking. And
I
as you
also have iron gullet, so
exactly, and as you consume this blood bag and finish it up, drawing the last parts of the lukewarm blood out of it, you can lower your hunger by 1 from doing that. But you have no more blood bags on you.
I am aware.
Josette, you have an armory here? Like, you have weapons?
we just a bunch of blades mostly and
And-
1 crossbow. Do you want it?
Yes.
Okay. I have a couple tiny and she brings out some Ruger pistols and 1 Glock. She's like, "I don't like guns though, so you take these, okay?
Okay.
I'm more of a," and then she just pulls out 1 long sword and like slides in the back on her little holster, and then starts putting small daggers on her thighs. I'm more of a blade lady.
The best, also the most Chang takes.
Anyone
like,
else? No,
a blade
Aida?
that's about this size, but nothing more. Like just a little dagger.
Nee, niks voor mij. Nothing.
That's
for me.
that's the street legal. That's street legal. It's less than. Are you sure you don't want something slightly more dangerous?
So with the armory use, with Josette having decked out with sharp objects, Peter being provided with at
A
least some
pistol.
form of pistol, and Chang and Gietje relying on other means to deal with this. Are you going to put Hannes into your haven as well, or do you leave him in the car?
On the chance they get stopped, I'm sure Gisette would rather the body be in the haven
haven.
where no one's going to ever look versus in the car. Yeah.
That makes sense.
And then we should
Yeah.
allow the Prince of Liège to decide to pass judgment on him. Whoever it may be. I understand that times are hard, but the traditions of the Camarilla and the Ivory Tower should be upheld still.
I wonder who would be a good fit for Aachen, Petertje.
He's taken off his blazer and he's putting on some sort of like holster thing that he can like around his chest, and he isn't even like looking at that comment. He's just focusing on fitting the holster so that it sits tightly on his body, and then like safety checking. You can tell he's got some training with firearms.
You know what, Petertje? And Grietje will say this almost a bit softly, closer to Peter. Like you said, Casper has been surrounded by a den of snakes. Was it the way you described it? His life have been threatened. Maybe you can keep him safer. Maybe with his experience, you and him could take care of Aachen. Maybe Maastricht is too hot, too dangerous for the moment. But if Maastricht was in good hands, isn't that worth having Casper safely in your arms?
And who would be sitting on the throne of Maastricht instead?
We'd have to find someone trustworthy, who is communicative, who takes actions into her own hands. It's all about keeping Casper safe, though, and doing what's best for Maastricht. Toch? Maar
He puts on his blazer and he turns to her. You think I care for Casper's safety?
care, value, different interpretations of the same word.
It is not his Sicherheit that I am worried for. It is the stability of this region, of everything here. In just a few weeks, these 3 cities have seen such loss and chaos. If one were to sit on a throne, it would be their responsibility to stabilize.
And it is very difficult to take these decisions, to weigh people's lives, their mortal ones even. Good thing we have people all around us, present company included, that are comfortable making those decisions. Toch?
He turns to, I'm assuming there's like maybe some kind of mirror in this little tiny haven.
Of course, yes.
Like, even if it's just like
There's a crack in it, but yeah, it's there.
Yeah, like a shattered glass. Of course there is, naturally. And he like turns to it and he's like fixing his blazer.
Now, imagine, and Grietje just raises her hands over Peter's head as if she's placing something invisible there. Ziet er goed uit. Looks good.
We do not even know how this Zauber, this spell works. We might need both the current princes alive and well.
I figured that out some way or another.
Chang, you're standing right there. My goodness. Senra,
I-
are we ready?
I can
Place
say
is very
this is-
small. What
This
did
is
you?
a very.
Where
We
did you
can
think I was gonna
hear
be?
you. Yes, Gretchen, we hear you manipulating Peter. We're all listening. Also, Peter, I did find 2 grenades. I forgot about them. Do you want them? She's juggling them.
No.
I
No?
kind of move a bit between Grietje and Peter, kind of creating a bit of a distance between them after Grietje was like all in his, area, and put a hand on his shoulder and tell him a bit quietly, before we put you in any kind of danger, I'll figure out what this thing does.
Agreed.
And then you decide on your own. And I look over at Grietje for a bit. He will make his own choices.
Dankeschön, Jan. It's
Let's
funny.
hope we have the breathing space to be able to make a calm decision.
Yes. It's funny. Peter's highest attribute is composure. So, like, he's varying, but his lowest is resolve. So it's really actually pretty easy to like sway his mind in different directions.
Grietje's strongest is manipulation. What a surprise!
All of these options are very good, Grietje, and it is good to plan, but we all know that plans should be flexible.
What a wise and respectful thing to say.
He like can't help
Just
but
like
smile.
a prince would
leadership-wise.
say.
Like,
also very smart.
I just look at Peter, just that, like, he and I look at each other and just like, roll my eyes a little. Like, we'll figure it out later.
Yes, now to find good David.
And that is indeed the keyword here. Good David. You leave behind Josette's Haven, geared up and with one staked gangrel less in your car. And to the St. James Church is not too far from Josette's place. You have to take a few streets, drive a few streets further down into the city center. And eventually you see the church with its neo-Gothic elements. It's interesting to see a church so dominated by newer architecture around it, as if the modern life casts a shadow over this older relic of a past long gone. But still, here it is. You find a safe place to put the Kangoo, look around the church for a little bit, trying to find some further instructions because the envelope didn't give you much. But there is one thing you spot, especially one thing that our kindred from Aachen would recognize, Peter. You walk around together with your coterie, walk a little bit around the church, and then you walk by a car. It's Holger's car
Oh,
that's standing
fuck.
here.
Gott verdammt. Was in die Hölle? What the hell is Holger doing here?
He's come to die, maybe. Likely.
Are we so sure? He said he had contacts with the hunters, but are we so sure that he betrayed Prince Isidora?
He wanted us to kill Prince Caspar. To the Suivant, do you remember?
But
I
That
It
was,
is-
was our need.
but that
I
is
was-
where I wonder, because obviously Holger is like up to something, and I'm pretty sure he plays both sides.
But
But
he could be up
killing-
to the
no,
same.
No, but
something.
the thing is, they needed Caspar alive. Yasira kept him alive for a reason. She needed to figure something out, and she needed someone who was still on the throne, and that implies someone who's still alive. Well, alive as we are.
I
So
pull
why
out Hannes's phone and I scroll through last called. Is there a German or Holger's number on this phone?
+49.
There are +49 numbers here, German numbers, but similar to how Peter deals with Holger in his phone, Holger would definitely not be under his actual name in this phone. But you do find that there is one of the numbers in there matches with one of the phone numbers that Holger uses on his burner phones.
Like, see.
Josette, while you are standing here with your coterie and you're standing here next to the parked car of Holger, you glance at the number plate and you just see a regular German number plate first. But as you glance back, the letters have rearranged on the number plate. There's a message written on it. And it says, "Go below and choose wisely."
Her hands are shaking because she's like, first time for everything. First ghosts, and now a license plate. No one's going to believe me. I think it's time to visit the catacombs. It did say to choose wisely. So maybe that was a slight at Peter saying he didn't choose wisely. I'm just kidding. I don't think that's what it is. But we will have a choice. We know. Multiple choices. Is everyone ready?
Kill Holger, don't kill Holger. Kill Holger, don't kill Holger. Let's go.
You enter the church through one of the doors leading into the main ship of the church. The ceiling high above you, many pillars flanking the pews that are set next to each other, and layers of the smell of incense over everything in here. Magnificent windows have no light shining through them now, but there is light on in the church. Long shadows are cast over the pews and towards the altar. There is a single person sitting in one of the pews here. As you enter, this person rises, the hoodie pulled up, and you see Holger standing there. He sees all of you enter, and he does this slow clap as you enter. Ihr habt wirklich Scheiße gebaut. You really made a mess out of it. From what I can tell, you brought the prince back when you should have been smarter to not bring him back. And do you have any idea what happened with Hannes? Do you have any idea why I'm hearing from my contacts that the police is on high alert in Maastricht? Does it have any kind of connection with what's been happening? Because I have the feeling that it is not a coincidence that you're also headed here through this church. Because why are you here?
Oh, we're just sightseeing. What do you think while we're here?
Oh, are you going to tell me what kind of architectural style this is? I bet it's neo-Gothic.
Well, technically it's not, because it was like they started to establish a church in the 1050s and finished it in the 1500s. And neo-Gothic is actually more established in the 1800s. They might have had neo-Gothic influences.
Thank you,
because they
Chum.
added...
Holger, what are you doing here?
Gute Frage.
Pourquoi? Why?
Things are not going as I wanted them to go. Absolutely not. We had a good thing going, you know? When these hunters, when they killed Isidora, that was a chance. That was an opportunity for all of us. We could have just completely shuffled around anyone in power here. We had Isidora. We have David not far from here. That was quite the mess to get him there. And all that was left was Caspar. And if it then so happens that I have to give Yassira a chance to do with Caspar what she wants, well, that's a start. But at a certain point, I get nervous. I can't have that corpse somewhere in a village lying around for too long. So I need people to get rid of it.
Where is David now?
Downstairs, so to speak.
You haven't killed him yet.
I would love to. Ich würde ihn wirklich so gern einäschern. Would love to turn him to ash. But I also think Yassira is onto something. And I would love her to complete her work.
Wow, you really do change your mind more than some people change their underwear.
I think if you look it up in the dictionary, it's called an opportunist. I think that's also a definition for an entire species.
Quel chemin tu veux choisir? What path do you want to pick?
Well, I had a path chosen, but you've kind of mixed things up again. So, and he throws his arms out wide. I have a bit of a proposition to make. You lot seem like you're a very safe horse to bet on. So, we can go and kill David. We have someone else try to clean up the mess here in Liège. Maybe one of you would like to have this throne. Then we figure out what we do with Caspar, but I've heard through the grapevine that someone might have a bit of a hook into Caspar. So perhaps we can use that. Deal with him. And then we also just need to fix someone in Aachen for a while. And we run this show. All I'm asking for is to just be kept in my position as harpy of whatever beautiful new domain we're going to forge. And that we look further into whatever Yassira has been looking into. I've been trying to reach her. I can't reach her. Do you know if anything's up with Yassira?
She doesn't want to be reached.
Nor does Hannes.
Holger, I'm afraid that you are the one who have been making a mess of things. You are pulling on strings of which you don't know what they are attached to.
I've been pulling at a lot of strings, that is true. And I admit, I pull at some, and they come loose. But there's one string I'm still pulling at. And it's that one string that leads right to these human hunters that have been causing a problem. And I can still pull that string where I want it to go. So if you have any ambitions to run this show, and run this show without any attention from these hunters in the wrong places, Well, I got the strings to pull.
Kriche looks at her coterie members, almost like with her face saying, like, "Can I, please, please?"
Josette gives you the nod. She's like, he does not threaten us.
Yes.
Can I take a bit of a look around? Want to see if Holger has done anything to the place, touched anything, if anything is out of place. Because why are you standing alone in the church waiting for us?
This feels like stalling.
Yeah.
There's no role necessary for it. He's trying to stall.
Kriche will attempt to mesmerize. So she'll take a few steps forward, just sort of tilt her head and get a good look under that hoodie.
As Kriche does that, I will tell Josette to stay as backup for Kriche in case Holger pulls anything. Or Kriche is not able to mesmerize, what I doubt, but you never know. And after seeing that, Chang will move over to Peter and signal that we're not staying for the mesmerize. We're not waiting. We're gonna take action and see if we can get to David.
All right. There's movement on your side of the coterie, and Kretje, you step a bit closer, trying to make eye contact. And as you approach Holger, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kretje, can you roll me in response to this in strength plus brawl check? Because Holger, just as you approach, he raises his hand, and you see his fingernails turning into obsidian claws as he just brings them down towards you.
Oh.
You feel these claws, they claw through your clothing, across your chest, and they burn. They burn through your skin, they hurt. It stings deeper. Usually, vampires are capable of halving the superficial damage they take. And a cutting wound is usually superficial damage to a vampire. But these claws, you don't halve the damage from these. You're taking 5 superficial damage to your health. And the claws, like we see the cloth shred as they go through your clothing. Chang, you are moving through the church. You snap your head around as you hear that there's movement, that there is this quick movement, the sound of clothes tearing. And both you and Josette have this moment of seeing everything around you monochrome. And all of you see, the two of you see everything in black and white. And you hear just this ghostly voice in both of your ears. Go. And that's where we're going to end today's penultimate session of Three-City Revamp.
Ow!
We've made it to the third city. We have donned our gear, and we have come into perhaps the final confrontation of our story, and how all of this will wrap up. What choices will be made? Who will sit in the thrones, or even on the thrones? We'll hopefully find out next week. But before we leave you today, let's go around our table briefly. I've been Markus, also known as the Chindividual. My pronouns are he, him, and you can find me online everywhere as the Chindividual. Also on YouTube as the Chindividual, where I make TTRPG videos mostly focused on Pathfinder and sometimes some other funky TTRPG stuff. Would love to see you drop by there. And also, if you like stuff about TTRPGs and the occasional cat picture, follow me on my socials. Let's throw it over to the best armed Malkavian in the entire region. Jen, hello.
Hello, thank you. Another great time here. You can find me online at the Genya, not on X, Zitter, whatever. It can burn and all of the hells. So Blue Sky Please, Instagram. You can also find my TTRPG work and comics work over at hauntedvaultstudios.com. I am announcing, or have announced at this point, that I have a new agent, Sheena Wolf, who's fantastic. So I have her information there as well. But yes, thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you for joining us again. Toto, where can we find you?
Hello, everyone. I am Toto. My pronouns are she, they, and you can find me almost anywhere under Todoroki. Not on X, Twitter, though. I haven't really been using it for over a year. I'm mostly active on Blue Sky nowadays. You can also find me on Instagram or in the Euphoria Discord, everyone. Please join. It's a great time. Yeah, I am looking forward to seeing what happens. I am scared, but also excited. Scared-sighted. We'll see each other next week.
I feel the scare-sightedness. Thank you for being here. Krifu!
Hi, I'm Krifu Bernal. You can find me on all socials, mostly active on Blue Sky and Insta at Krifu Bernal. I am the GM for the Twilight's Edge campaign, the Pathfinder campaign on the Tumble Through podcast.
Tumble
Through episodes coming out every Tuesday. And this Saturday, I will be in London at Dragon Meet, where we'll have a table in the podcast zone for Tumble Through. I'll probably be trapped behind that table the whole day, in a fun way. Yeah, so come and peer through the bars of my self-made cage and say hello.
Please go say hello to Krifu and all the other people there at Dragon Meet. You totally should. And last and certainly not least, the person who plays a vampire who just got shredded, Aida.
Them's fighting words. Hi, my name is Aida. My pronouns are she and her. You can find me on socials, Blue Sky almost exclusively now, at In the Pan. I am also one of the co-founders here at Euphoria, and we are about telling these sort of kick-ass stories that feature casts that are from all across Europe, not just the UK, all across Europe, who speak various different languages, have different experiences, have multicultural. We have all sorts of gender representations. We are queer friendly, and we just love having a good, amazing time here. So do check us out if you're so inclined. We also have exclusive content on Patreon. For example, at the last session, Kichi had to roll a rouse test, for example, a remorse test. And if you're curious how that went, go check it out. We actually have it for free for everyone. All you got to do is sign up to Patreon. No paid membership is required for that post, for example. And I will also be at Dragon Meet, hopefully bringing Krifu food and or hydration. You can definitely catch me at the POC Lounge, at the Euphoria live game, and at the Soul Muppet Meet networking event the next day as well. So can't wait to see all of you. And thank you so much for having tuned in and for everyone telling such a dramatic story. I'm a little sad it's going to end, but oof.
Oof, indeed.
All things must come to an end. Like the rule of princes, ancient magic, this session, and this story. But that end can wait for yet one more week. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, for watching. Take care, stay safe, and see you soon on Euphoria. Bye-bye. We're getting another outro of Aida just chugging that drink.
Chugging.
We're gonna go. 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 We're gonna go.
There we go.
Slashed me. You slashed me.